Good morning students, welcome to the online teaching session of Academy World School Bemitra. This is the second lecture for the chapter From Trade to Territory. In this chapter we will begin with the topic East India Company begins trade in Bengal. But before that, let's recall what we had discussed in our last class. In that class we had studied that about East India Company, and we had discussed that East India Company was an English trading company whose main objective was to purchase goods from the east countries or those countries which were coming at the east direction of Britain, and then was carried to all those goods to the Europe and sold it. This was the main function of the East India Company. Then we had discussed about the charter, written approval of an authority to move one country to another country. Then we had discussed about the internal and the external competitor. The company, East India Company, was not having any internal competitor. Internal competitor because of this charter. The charter was having the sole right to trade issued by the Queen or the ruler of England, that was Queen Elizabeth I in the year 1600. And then the company started to do trade and the trade flourished. This all things we had discussed in our last class. And now we will discuss how the trade expanded in Bengal. So let's start the topic. The first English factory was set up in the year 1651. You may get this question, this for 2 marks question you may get, that when and where the first English factory was set up. So it was set up in the year 1651 near the bank of the river Hooghly. Near the bank of the river Hooghly. Student, why the first English factory was set up near the bank of the river Hooghly, you know? Again, let me to remind that the year 1498, it was Vasco da Gama who discovered the first sea route to India. So most of the people were preferring the sea route for doing trading activity or for exporting the goods or for importing the goods. So it was the sea route. So sea means, suppose this is the sea area or river area, then the bank side of this river was very much populated, was very much active during those days. Why? Because it was very easy for them to come to land and then to settle, to take rest there. And then they were going to different parts of the country. However, the first English factory was set up near the bank of the river Hooghly. When it had set up, students, it had set up in the year 1651. And after establishing that, the company known as Factors operated. Here we need to understand the meaning of factors and the meaning of factory. The factory was having 2 rooms. One was warehouse and the another one was an office. The factory of the East India Company was having a warehouse and an office. What they were keeping in the warehouse, you know, warehouse we can say a kind of godown, where the East India Company was storing the goods which they want to export through the sea route. Now, in the office, the officials of the East India Company were sitting, where they were doing all the paperwork and they were taking care of the factory. So this is all about factory. Now, who are the factors? Factor. We understood factory. Factory consists of one warehouse and one office, whereas the factors were known as the merchants, the traders. They were known as the factors. So year 1651, company known as the factors operated. Factor means the merchants and the traders, and factory means where a godown or a building which was having warehouse and a office. We can say that a factory was a building where the East India Company was storing goods for exporting purpose. So after establishing the factory, trade flourished, business flourished, buying and purchase continued. As it continued, the East India Company persuaded many of the merchants to come and to settle near the river Hooghly. To settle means they persuaded, they approached. Who approached? East India Company approached to many factors, to many merchants, to many traders to come and to settle near the factory. Do you know, student, why they were approaching? They were approaching the merchants and the traders so that the more merchant and traders will settle, the more merchant and trader will live around the factory, the big market will be. And if the market will be big, then there will be a big business which result a big profit. Here let me to share the definition of market. Market is a place where buyers and sellers carry on the process of buying and selling. Now, in the year, so here we discussed about how company becomes a factors operated, and I told to you that factors and factory. Now, in the year 1696, see, as the trade expanded, the company approached or persuaded to whom? To the merchants, or we can say the factors, to settle, to live around the factory. But during 1696, it started fortification. Who started fortification? The company started fortification. The company started to build many forts around the settlement. Settlement means we can say that the place where the company were living. Okay, so company started to make fortification. Why the company was building fortification? Do you know why the company was making fort? So that it could protect itself from the external threat. Who were the external threat? Who were the external competitor? We had discussed in the last class. They were the Portuguese, the Dutch, and the French people. So the company was making this fortification, but it was causing problem to whom? To the local ruler. The fortification that the East India Company was doing was a problem for the local ruler. The local rulers were not happy, not satisfied with this activity of the company. Why? Very simple, student. If someone will come to your place, if someone will come to your land and will do some constructional activity and will do some constructional work, will you feel happy? Exactly. The local rulers were also not happy with the activity of the East India Company. However, as the fortification continued, just after 2 years of this, that is 1698, student, this year has not given in our book, but in our book it has given just after 2 years of this 1696. So it is 1698. In the year 1698, the first success of the company acquired. It means we can say company received the zamindari rights. Here the company received a zamindari right, and here you may get another question, that in which year the company acquired zamindari right? What do you understand by zamindari right? From whom the company received zamindari right? The answers are in the year 1698 the company received zamindari rights from the Mughal officials. From whom? From the Mughal officials, the company received zamindari rights. Now, what this zamindari right is? This zamindari right is a right to collect tax. As during those times, the whole area, the whole territory was under local rulers. As in our 7th class, we have studied about the Mughal rulers, about the Sultanate period. So all these areas were under these local rulers. So the zamindari rights will be, the zamindari right was given to those who were having the right to collect. So in simple term, we can define zamindari right means what? It is a right to collect tax. Who received? The company received. When it received? Just after 2 years of 1696, that is 1698. Under this right, after having this right, now the company eligible to collect the taxes. Collect the taxes over from whom? From 3 villages. Among these 3 villages, Calicut was one of them. What this Calicut is, students? Calicut, which is now known as Calcutta. In the year 1698, zamindari right received by the East India Company from the Mughal officials. Okay. Now, as the sole objective of the East India Company was to earn profit, more and more profit, and to maximize the profit, here it again the East India Company began. How? We'll discuss that. After acquiring this zamindari rights over 3 villages, one among them was Calicut, which is now known as Calcutta. The company persuaded. What is the meaning of this persuaded, student? A gentle approach. The company persuaded the Mughal emperor. Who was the Mughal emperor? And during those times it was Aurangzeb. So student, from Aurangzeb also you will get 2 questions, and you should not confuse. Who was the last powerful Mughal emperor? Aurangzeb. So Aurangzeb was the last powerful Mughal emperor. But if the question will come, who was the last Mughal emperor? Bahadur Shah Jafar. Aurangzeb, who was the last powerful Mughal emperor? The company approached, the company persuaded Aurangzeb for what? For issuing a farman. It was the East India Company who persuaded, who approached Aurangzeb, who considered as the last powerful Mughal emperor, for issuing farman. You will be thinking, student, what this farman is? Farman is, we can say, the farman is a written order. What farman is? Farman is a written order. So what this farman, so why this East India Company was persuading this Aurangzeb for issuing farman? So that the company can do a free trade. For what? For free trade. Who approached? East India Company approached. To whom approached? Aurangzeb, who was the emperor. For what the East India Company approached? For issuing a farman. What is that farman? Farman means a written record, okay, which would be passed by the authority. So it was the Aurangzeb who it was the East India Company who approached to Aurangzeb for issuing a farman, so that the East India Company can do a free trade. Free trade means what? Again I am repeating. East India Company was an English trading company whose main objective was to purchase goods like the fine and the cheap, silk, cotton, cardamom, sandalwood, cinnamon, all these. But the main objective of the East India Company was to earn more and more profit. So free trade means, we can say, without tax. Without, the company will purchase goods from India but will not pay the tax. Finally, the farman was issued. The East India Company bought the farman. As the East India Company received the farman, it was misutilized. What was misutilized? The farman. The East India Company officials, they started to misutilize the farman. Do you know how? See, with the farman, now the East India Company eligible to do trade, to purchase the goods, but without paying tax. But it was, the farman was not granting other officials to use it for their personal purpose, for their private purpose. This farman was issued for the East India Company. It was not for the officials. I am explaining it again. Farman issued from Aurangzeb. So the East India Company, when the officials were going to the market for purchasing the goods like fine quality of silk and cotton, during those times, if any of the East India Company officials was watching something and like to purchase something, was purchasing, and at that time was not paying the tax. So as the officials were not paying taxes, they were showing the farman to the sellers. So the sellers were not taking the taxes. As a whole, it resulted a great loss to the Bengal, because the farman was only issued to the East India Company, but now the East India Company officials, they started to use it for their personal purpose, for their private purpose. So student, it was all about the East India Company begins trade in Bengal. Now we will go for another topic, that is how trade lead to battle. As the name of the topic is suggesting, how trade lead to battle, we need to answer it. Trade. East India Company had come for only trading purpose, for only doing business. Okay, and that caused what? A battle, a war. A war in between whom? Obviously, a war with the rulers, local rulers, we can say. So, who was the king? Who was the ruler of Bengal during those days? Ruler of Bengal. Who was? It was the last powerful Mughal ruler, Aurangzeb. Aurangzeb died. After Aurangzeb died, as Aurangzeb died, after the death of Aurangzeb, the Nawabs of the Bengal, they became very powerful. They started to establish their own control, their own autonomy over the area of Bengal. So, who became the Nawab of Bengal after Aurangzeb? You know, it was. You may get questions, students, from this topic, so please write it down. Murshid Ali Khan, Ali Bardi Khan, and then Sirajudullah. After the death of Aurangzeb, the Nawab of Bengal became Murshid Ali Khan. After the death of Murshid Ali Khan, Ali Bardi Khan. After Ali Bardi Khan, it was Sirajudullah who became the Nawab of Bengal. Now we are discussing how this trade led to battle. So we need to understand the battle in between whom. One side we know, it is very clear that it was East India Company. But another side who was? Another side it was Sirajudullah. Many conflicts were there, many dissatisfactions were there with the East India Company. But somewhere they were managed. The Nawabs of the Bengals were managing somewhere. But it was Sirajudullah who was very powerful, very imperious, and he raised issues. What were the issues? That we will discuss now. So, why the conflict arise? We can write it as areas of conflict. What conflict is? Disagreement for something. So what were the areas of the conflict? Let me to write and then I will explain this. The first area was concession. The second one was large tribute. The third one encroachment. The fourth one disrespectful letters. The fifth one humiliation. After Aurangzeb, Murshid Ali Khan. After Murshid Ali Khan, Ali Bardi Khan was followed by Sirajudullah. Now, who is the Nawab of Bengal? Sirajudullah. Sirajudullah was not happy, was not satisfied. With whom? With East India Company. Why he was not happy? Why there was a conflict? Why there was a disagreement? Why the Nawab was not happy? Why the East India Company was not happy? All these we will discuss now. So the reasons were all these. The reasons were all these. The first one, concession. Concession means what? A kind of, we can say, discount. Again, from the beginning, East India Company was a trading company. So the main activity of the East India Company was what? Purchase. To purchase what? Purchase goods. In India, there was an availability of fine quality of silk, cotton, sandalwood, spices like cardamom, cinnamon, cloves, all these. So the East India Company was doing the trade or purchase. We are purchasing what? These goods at a very cheap price. And always the East India Company was seeking discount. On whom? On the purchase. It was the East India Company who always seeking, who always expecting for a discount, for a concession, for a trade concession. From whom? From the ruler. And at that time, who was the ruler? It was Sirajuddaula. So the expectation of the company from the Nawab was not fulfilled. What was the expectation? The expectation was trade concession. East India Company was expecting discount, and it was Sirajuddaula who did not allow for any concession, any trade concession to the company. And instead of giving concession, it was Sirajuddaula who demanded a large tribute. Who demanded what? A large tribute. Now please try to understand the situation, students. One side, the East India Company expecting discount, and instead of giving discount, it was the Nawab who demanded an annual tribute or tax. That the East India, according to Sirajuddaula, East India Company came to India doing trade, profit maximizing. So it was the East India Company who should give tax to the India, who should give tax to the Nawab. Instead of giving tax, how the company can demand for discount? So it was, so these two were the reason. The third one, as we already discussed, what? The making of the fort. Fortification was a very important, important cause for this conflict. The East India Company was encroaching. Encroaching means what? Capturing. Encroaching means what? Capturing the land. Okay. The Indian land was captured or encroached by the East India Company, which was not happy for, which was not a happy reason for Sirajuddaula. And then Sirajuddaula wrote letters to the East India Company for about all these issues. Instead of that, after issuing the letters, company officials started to write letters to the Nawab. How they had written, you know, they had written disrespectfully. In those letters, they had humiliated. To whom they had humiliated? They had humiliated the Sirajuddaula. Who was this Sirajuddaula? We already discussed. Sirajuddaula was the Nawab of Bengal. Nawab of Bengal. So students, these were the reasons, these were the area of conflict that lead to battle, that lead to a war. That war was Battle of Plassey that had fought in the year 1757. So in this lecture we will discuss this much only. The assignments related to this topic has been uploaded in ERP. I request you all, please download that and do it as soon as possible. Thank you.